Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So it's official, Jimmy Kimmel has been canceled by ABC. And this comes after he did a monologue that was just absolutely insane about the Charlie Kirk assassination, essentially blaming Donald Trump, blaming MAGA for apparently, according to him, assassinating one of their own, which makes zero sense, by the way. He is just perpetrating just nonsense and lies and is just acting in poor taste. And his show's officially canceled. And people on the left are upset about it. They're claiming it's right-wing cancel culture. We're going to dive into all of this for sure because they just don't really seem to understand that we're in the driver's seat now, apparently. I don't think they understand what has happened, not just with the assassination itself, but just the cultural change in general, the fact that the right is starting to realize what they're up against and fight back against it, and they're lashing out, and the way that they've reacted to this has been incredibly just, finger pointing in poor taste, trying to gain political points. And as a result, the people aren't buying it. And this is a business decision. It's clear that Jimmy Kimmel probably was going to be let go anyways in the coming future, regardless of whether this happened or not, because he's not funny. He hasn't been funny ever, at least not since Donald Trump came onto the political scene. And on top of it, you have people like Stephen Colbert, other late-night NPC hosts getting canceled because they're just not that good for business. They're not that good for business. And when you're acting like this was just the straw that broke the camel's back. If this was the first instance of something like this happening, well, I don't think it really would have moved the needle that much. But it was a business decision clearly, and there was pressure from affiliates and things of that nature, I'm sure. But either way, I think it was the right decision because he's not funny. And we need to take the win. The right doesn't understand when to just take the win. The left has taken the win so much, and that's why you have lunatics like Jimmy Kimmel that are in these slots, that are these late-night hosts, because the left understands that politics is a game, and it's about rewarding your friends. It's about punishing your enemies, so much so to the point where they go out there and assassinate, and then they decide to blame the other side because it makes them feel absolved from it or whatever. And this is how they're able to control the narrative. But people are waking up and realizing it's nonsense. And the right is just using 10% of the same playbook against them, and they just cannot handle it. And they're using it for good, whereas the left is using it for bad. And that's the difference here. So we're going to dive into this. We're going to play the monologue and analyze it. And on top of it, we're going to cover some of the other takes surrounding this and why this is not the same cancel culture or whatever. And we'll also look into some other metrics about how this whole tragedy has the potential to reshape the political climate away from the left even further. But really quickly, got to tell you guys about my friends over at Allegiance Gold. While the media is obsessing about Trump's tariff, something big is brewing and nobody's talking about it except right here. Because under new Basel III international banking rules, gold has officially been reclassified as a Tier 1 asset, placing it on the same level as cash and U.S. Treasuries. Translation, gold is money again. Just in the first quarter, thousands of tons of gold were quietly moved back to the U.S. from Europe. Meanwhile, central banks around the globe are stockpiling gold at record levels. That's not a coincidence, it's a signal. So if the world's most powerful financial institutions are hoarding gold, why aren't you? Don't wait. Call Allegiance Gold, the trusted experts that I've partnered with that have the highest ratings and accolades. They'll help you secure real physical gold and silver delivered straight to your home or placed securely inside your IRA or 401k. Go to allegiancegold.com/redeagle or call 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191 and mention Red Eagle. You could be eligible to receive up to $5,000 in free metals, but only if you act now, because gold is freedom, gold is sovereignty, and as of now, gold is officially money. That's allegiancegold.com/redeagle or call 844-790-9191 today. All right, so back to the video. We're going to play this clip here, or at least part of it, and we're going to analyze it. So this is the monologue that got Jimmy Kimmel off the air. Let's take a listen.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But
okay, so already this is how he opens the show. Not from talking about the celebration we saw from many people on the left, from people in the mainstream media that were essentially blaming Charlie Kirk for this happening before he was even pronounced dead, or just the fact that he decides to attack the right for trying to score political points. He's deflecting to the right. The right did not kill Charlie Kirk, a leftist did. Okay, that's the difference. Mainly because they're inspired by far-left rhetoric, and a lot of that rhetoric is espoused by people like Jimmy Kimmel, people like the mainstream media. I'm not saying that Jimmy Kimmel did it directly, but he's a part of that machine. He's a useful idiot for that machine, and that's why he comes up with this nonsensical take about, oh no, this is the disgust is from the other side. The other side just had their number two basically just taken out. And you decide to blame them for it and go on just this monologue about that. And then he essentially plays a clip of Trump where Trump was asked a question about it and he didn't directly respond, which again, people need to understand that if this happened the other way, they would just say it's grieving and everyone grieves differently, which is definitely true. Trump is going to speak at the funeral for Charlie Kirk this weekend. He's not exactly somebody that's letting this go away, but him deflecting and when he's asked about himself and talking about something that's happening at the White House is not really the end of the world, but he's basically just trying to find a way to go out there and put the blame on the other side when it's your side that did this. Your side is doing it. Your side is not calling out your own side. You're just pointing fingers. Now, I don't know if that's in and of itself enough to say that this guy should be taken off the air, but this is not the only offense of his that is like this, if we're going to be completely honest. And the right needs to understand to just take the win. I mean, we really are transforming the culture, and we've been doing it before that. And you have to understand, this is not the only case where one of these lunatics has just had their career destroyed because of just the fact that they're a massive liability. You look at people like Don Lemon, Joy Reid, Jim Acosta, Stephen Colbert, Chris Cuomo. These are all people that have been canceled by their own networks, and this is just another example of that being the case. And that's just the way it is. And this is not something that a lot of right-wingers were going out there and saying, take him off the air for it. But he's off the air, and I guess you could say that one more unfunny activist late-night host is gone. And I think that's a good thing, and that's the only take that we need from this. We don't need any other take, because they will say it's horrible because people are getting fired from their jobs for glorifying and celebrating an assassination. And it's if you just disregard human life, or you think it's funny that somebody gets taken out for their political beliefs, a prominent figure that millions of Americans look up to, and you see them, and many people saw it in person, him just taking a bullet to the neck, bleeding out and dying. They see that, and they decide to make light of that. And the right is the bad side because, oh no, they might be hypocrites about a cancel culture because they're getting these people fired from their jobs. Many of these people, almost all of them, work in two fields. One of that is the educational field. These people that are glorifying violence should not be anywhere near children. They should not be educating children. That is a safety issue, more so than a free speech issue. And the same thing goes for the healthcare field. If you're a doctor and you're operating on patients, or you're giving medical advice to patients, and you think that it's appropriate to go out there and make light of or celebrate the death of somebody because you disagree with them, that is not a person that should be in that job, because it is a public safety issue, first and foremost. If it was somebody that was celebrating like the Charleston church shooting, and this happened to be like a doctor or something, yeah, that person probably should deserve the same fate, and they would have deserved the same fate. But nobody did that because, again, the left is full of raging lunatics. I mean, we understand that. It's not everybody on the left, but the left is largely two groups. It's people that are going out there and saying these disgusting things and celebrating it. We have all this footage on TikTok. They're posting all these tweets that have gone viral. Reddit, I mean, if you say people shouldn't celebrate it, in many cases, you're going to look at all these downvotes these people get. I mean, these people are deranged. We understand that. And then you have the people that are just willing to pretend that that doesn't exist, not call them out, and they make that worse. And Jimmy Kimmel falls into that category. He really does. But this is the same, and you talk about cancel culture, this is the same group of people that try to ruin people's lives for saying things like all lives matter in 2020, for supporting Trump in 2020, for not posting a black square on Instagram in 2020. But again, these are the same people that glorify violence over political disagreements. And they glorify murderers in many cases, people like Luigi Mangione, Carmelo Anthony to a lesser extent, getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in GoFundMe from these people because he happened to stab an innocent white kid to death. Like, these are people that glorify violence. And if you're doing that, you should not really be in civil society first and foremost. And I'm not saying that that's exactly what Kimmel did, but does he enable these people? Absolutely. Is he somebody who's not funny? Absolutely. Should he have a job? No. I mean, you talk about merit-based hiring. That's what the right stands for. Kimmel is not funny. So why should he have a comedy show? He absolutely shouldn't on that basis alone. You know, South Park, Charlie Kirk was made fun of by South Park within the last few weeks of his life, and he loved the episode because he thought the bit was funny. And I think that there's a lot of criticism about, you know, the way South Park is going recently with just not making fun of both sides like so many people claim, and they did used to do it, and now they don't. It's mainly one side, but the portrayal of Charlie Kirk was objectively kind of funny. Cartman is Charlie Kirk, and it was funny to the point where Charlie Kirk changed his profile picture on TikTok and several other platforms to Cartman dressed up as Charlie Kirk from South Park. So it's not just about disagreements or comedy or whatever, but there's lines that you have to draw. And if you're going to go lie to the entire country and lecture a side and tell them they need to turn down the temperature when one of your own does something like this, that's just low. And when you're already on the hot seat, you're going to get fired. That's the way it goes. You know, he's not getting canceled over political beliefs. The people that got canceled over political beliefs, that's what the left does. If you want to talk about how they even tried to make that a part of their desperate campaign in 2024 for president, they tried to say, oh no, Trump is evil because a comedian told a joke at his rally, a joke about an island that has trash problems. And if you look at the demographics in 2024, were Puerto Ricans offended by it? No, they had the second largest swing to the right outside of Muslims of any subdemographic. And I think that the attention that the left drew to the joke, if anything, made that happen. It really did. You talk about cancel culture for opinions, that's what the left is about. And you can tell because Charlie Kirk was canceled in the worst way possible. He was killed for his political beliefs. That is the pinnacle of actual cancel culture, not accountability culture. You know, people celebrating violence, and they, have jobs in fields that you should not be able to do that. And you really shouldn't be able to do that in civil society in general. I understand we have a First Amendment, but that doesn't mean that there's no such thing as accountability. That's what the left used to say. And they used to say it about ridiculous things like saying all lives matter or, some joke that was racially insensitive or whatever that they've used to change and transform the culture. And we got to get that culture back and getting these, people out, pushing them out and not worrying about, we might look like hypocrites. It's just enough is enough. Enough is enough. I think that we just need to learn how to take the win. And when it comes down to the impact and how the culture is changing from things like this, when the left behaves this way, they create more conservatives. They create more right-wingers. We understand that. There are a lot of people out there who were probably apolitical, saw the left's reaction to this, and were absolutely disgusted. And the devil works hard. YouTube recommendations work harder. Charlie Kirk's YouTube channel, a lot of these are clips of him. I mean, they're reaching hundreds of millions of people over the past week. And what does that exactly tell me? That tells me that people and his message is not going away. It's amplified at a very high level, and it's going to continue to be amplified at a very high level. I don't think the left understands what they've done and the beast that they've created, and it's not just with what happened, which was a horrible tragedy, but how the left responded to it, because they tried to kill the man and they cannot kill the message, and that part is 100% true. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.